A new landmark study claims to know what your child's future holds simply by looking at the quality of their teachers. Researchers at Harvard and Columbia University tracked 1 million children from primary school to adulthood. For more on this, I'm joined by John Friedman from Harvard University School of Government. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, John.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on with you.
First, can you explain this value-added method to us?
Well, sure. There's a lot of complicated statistics behind it, but the intuition boils down to just asking which teachers have their students' test scores go up most in any given year.
So you're talking purely about improvement here, not overall marks?
No, that's right, and that's very important because if you're just looking at overall marks, it's very difficult to figure out what's the role of a teacher or anything in one given year versus which students come from, say, a wealthier household background. Whereas looking at changes, improvements in a given year, it's much easier to determine what's the impact of the teacher.
So how does this work in terms of, let's say we have a child that is an overachiever, how can we be sure that the teacher is being credited for getting these good marks, not just the child?
So that's exactly what our study was about. We took value-added measures that people have been calculating in research and in school districts for the past 10 or 15 years. And we went out to figure out whether these really captured the impact of the teacher or whether they just picked up which teachers were lucky enough to get overachieving kids. And what we found was that in circumstances where the same type of kids were getting higher or lower value-added teachers, they were improving just exactly as the value-added models suggest, which tells you that the value-added models are capturing the impacts of the teachers and not whether some teachers get more or less motivated kids.
So what does this tell us in your opinion? Are you saying we should really have something like financial incentives for teachers to perform well?
Well, let me tell you, what we found was that a student that has a better quality teacher as judged by value added is going to do significantly better later in life. So a high value added teacher improves the probability of going to college. It makes them go to better colleges. It makes them earn more when they get into the workforce. And it also makes them less likely to be a teenage parent. And these effects are really big too. So if you took a school with an average teacher and in just one classroom you replace them with a teacher in, say, the top 5%, the gains for that classroom alone from just that 1 year with the better teacher are nearly $1.5 million. So given that teachers are so important, I think it's incredibly important for our kids and for our education systems to try to get the best quality teachers we can in the classrooms. And so I think there are a number of different elements of that policy. We should be training teachers to be better to the extent that we can. We should be trying to attract the best teachers to be teachers. We should be trying to keep the best teachers rather than let them go off to maybe other better higher paying jobs. And yes, I think part of it is paying teachers who perform well in the classroom.
Okay, so we've heard about the positives of good teachers. For the mums and dads watching today, what is the negative effect of a teacher that isn't so good?
Well, you find the same thing. So if you were to replace a teacher who was an average teacher with one that was in the bottom 5%, your child might be earning significantly less for her entire lifetime. And I think that's why some people here in the United States, at least, are thinking of policies which try to get those teachers that aren't so good out of the classroom and replace them with teachers who are better.
We're going to put this to the PPTA here in New Zealand very shortly. What has the response been in the United States? Do you think people are taking this study seriously?
I think they are taking it very seriously. We've had some very positive responses from policymakers, both at the school district level and at the national level. I think that value added is not used currently anywhere, or it's just being started to be used as part of teacher evaluation, and I think that's a good step. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying that we should only be using value-added or test scores to evaluate teachers. The best incentive systems, the best evaluation systems are going to combine value-added measures with other more traditional measures of performance, like peer evaluations or principal evaluations. But if you put all those things together, we're going to be able to really evaluate teachers, tell them when they're doing well, how to do better, and we should start to treat teachers like, really talented, highly paid professionals that get paid well when they do well, and not like, factory workers that just earn whatever they earn and just kind of plod on through the years.
John Friedman from the Harvard Kennedy School of Government, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of feedback on this.